And both of us are on the right side of the screen.
Yep. So this is just like an open.
That's how you do it?
Yeah, it's the ways around everything. So Florence, how you doing today? We are in the quarantine. You're one of our many producers. We see you a lot. You live in the New Last neighborhood, I believe, and you are, you're a nurse. You work with a lot of people that's dealing with stuff right now. You're a mother. You do a lot. Talk to us. Tell us what you have going on right now while we are in the quarantine.
So, first of all, I will tell you that before the quarantine, I had just finished my MA program at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at CUNY. From 2018, August 2018 to December 2019, I was doing this intensive graduate program in journalism. So I graduated in December and then started looking for a job, applying for jobs. And by March, when I was still applying and like doing some first round interviews, this coronavirus just started and everything just grounded to a halt. So I got so frustrated. I had a lot of anxieties. I'll tell you that from the beginning of the quarantine, the first 3 weeks, I had a lot of anxieties. I even had to talk to a counselor at New York City Health. So because I was anxious about everything. I didn't have a job. And the time that I was in school, I was doing some part-time jobs. I was doing home health aid. I was also doing I was working as a direct care worker with people with disabilities with a company called Temp Positions. And with that company, I give my availability. So with the quarantine, with the coronavirus, the assignments were not coming at all. And I needed assignments only in Brooklyn. And I did all those jobs because as a single mother, I have no other person and I have 4 kids. I have to handle everything. So I've never been able to do a 9-to-5 job, a job that has this restricted schedule.
Absolutely.
It's never worked for me. So I was no longer doing the home health aid because of school. And then the temp position one, no job was coming. So I basically had no job. And especially as I was applying for reporting journalism jobs, as I started doing some first round interviews, everything just stopped. So I was so anxious. And up to now, no job still, but I'm trying to do other things.
So what type of other stuff are you working on right now to keep yourself going? Because I know you said you went through like a brief period where you just, mentally you wasn't feeling all there. So like, what stuff are you working on right now to kind of keep you afloat?
Yeah, before I still, and what I'm trying to do, because I'm like looking at what is going on now, what people in the field are doing now, they're using mostly this new technology. This is just a new thing that they're doing. They're using Zoom to do everything. So independently, I'm learning how to use Zoom so that when things come back to the new normal, I shouldn't be behind. So I've been I've created a Zoom account. I'm trying to learn how to do what we're doing now. That's why I was asking you some of those questions. What do you do when you using a split screen?
Luckily, like we've been putting together some classes and stuff like that for people who are interested in doing Zoom classes, because like right now this is what we have to deal with. And also it's a good tool because you may want to interview someone in another place or whatnot, so it's just a good tool to have in general. So I'll definitely make sure that you get the information about that after we wrap this up or whatever. But so you said you were working on some new stuff. So how has it been with your kids, like with the quarantine right now? How are they coping?
Yeah, and even before I get to the kids, before the quarantine, I had some unfinished projects that I was doing. So I've been like trying to edit, but just before the quarantine, I was trying to get a laptop with Premiere, but because everything was shut down, I couldn't get one. And even though I had it on my laptop, the charger stopped working. So one of my frustrations was because I couldn't charge my laptop and I couldn't edit the stuff. So after a back and forth with Apple, I finally got a charger. So, and just before it started, there was a conference on diabetes, because I see that diabetes is one of these underlying conditions that this coronavirus is preying on. So, Central Brooklyn had a diabetes conference right up the block from me. So in February, I went and filmed it. So I think it was 2 or 3 days ago that I sent it to programming, because it has a lot of information that especially people with underlying conditions,
Absolutely.
they have to know. So I did finish editing that and sent to programming. And there are other unfinished projects that I'm trying to get finished now, because during this time, with editing and with doing this stuff, this media stuff, when you stop doing, you start again, it looks like you've never done, you have to start like remembering everything.
Be consistent, yeah,
so I'm
consistency.
I'm trying to keep it going. Then with the kids, they look like they're big, but they're still babies. And yeah, I always love spending time with them, but not this 24/7. They're driving. They're doing remote learning now.
Yes.
And as I said before, they look like the big kids, because the youngest is 13.
Okay.
In 8th grade. But I have to keep on watching him to make sure he's doing his homework.
Yes.
If I'm not watching or I don't check, they'll be online doing other stuff. So it's a little bit difficult, because the kids, they're online more than they should be.
Absolutely.
And the fact that they're doing the work by themselves, they have other tabs open, and I have to keep on going there to make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And it's not easy. It's not easy. And having them at home all this time, sometimes I used to get away with not cooking all the time, but not this time. And because they eat a lot.
I hear you, yep.
And I have to make sure that they eat.
Yes.
So I'm cooking more than normal. Like, it's hard. It's hard. But I'm just trying to, I'm trying to just do my best to help them do what they're supposed to be doing. I know they're not getting what they're supposed to be getting when they're in the classroom. Like classroom learning is different. And I have to, I'm of both school systems, the DOE system and the charter school system.
Okay.
And looking at the way they're studying, the charter school system, I'm more satisfied with what the kids are getting than the DOE system, because with the DOE, they've cut down the number of hours, the number of class hours. By 12:30, they're done, from 40 minutes to 25 minutes per class. So the
does
kids
that
are
mean,
basically doing.
Does that mean are you gonna approach your kids like going to school differently now? Like once everybody's back outside and the kids are back in school, are you gonna approach their school differently? You looking to put them in different places? Like what's going on?
Yeah, no, I think I just hope they go back to school, but when it's unsafe. And I think the remote learning, one system has it right, because they're actually teaching the children. They're teaching them as we're talking like this, they're teaching the children. The only difference is that in person. But with the others, you don't really hear the teacher teaching. The teacher is there for those 25 minutes, and the kids are basically doing the work on their own. And I have to always make sure that my kid knows what he is doing, and if he has any issues, he has to reach the teacher. So within those 25 minutes, if they have any problem, doesn't really communicate with person. They don't with them in person, as we talking like this. So I just feel they're not getting what they're getting, but that's the best we could get now because nobody expected this. They're actually trying their best, but I don't think my kid is getting what he's supposed to be getting. So
Gotta give them the extra time. So what type of things are you doing for yourself to make sure that you're good? Because you're a human. You have kids, you have feelings and stuff like that. What type of things are you doing for yourself to make sure that you stay afloat?
I'm trying to. I have so many things that I do. As I mentioned before we started this chat, I I schedule certain things for the next day, but when I get up, a lot of other things just come in, and by the end of the day, I don't even handle 1/10 of what I scheduled. But before this quarantine, I went to models and saw some of these ropes, jump rope, and then this rope that you pull.
Yes.
So I just bought them because they were on sale. Little did I know they'll be very useful for me during this time
Okay.
because I'm a very active person. So just sitting around, my body rebels. So sometimes I take the rope up to the roof and I do jump up. I play music and I used to go for these dance Zumba classes. The classes are no longer taking place.
Yeah.
So, but even before that, I always played music. I'm very crazy when it comes to I don't exercise without music. So I do that inside the house. I go up to the roof. I do exercises. I play music. I dance. Sometimes very early, I'll take my kids. We go run before the track gets busy. Because
Good.
when you're running behind people, they're leaving what we're trying not to pick behind. So I take them and we go out there very early. We do some running and we do some, because they're sitting around here, it's not easy. And they are also using the ropes that, for instance, let me show you. This is one of them.
Oh, you got resistance bands. Okay. Oh,
yes,
I
this
have those
resistance
as well.
band. I have it.
Same thing.
Yeah, so even inside the house, we use this.
Okay.
And then this is the jump rope. I bought the heaviest one.
Yes.
The jump rope. Yes,
Okay.
I just held it together. So we do all of that. And then before this quarantine, I was planning on writing a book, even though I just have the skeleton.
You can still write it. Still do it.
Yeah. And I was also planning to do my podcast. I have the pilot.
Okay.
So I actually spoke with Jessica. There was a class that was supposed to take place, and coronavirus hit because I did studio production. Production, that's podcast production in the studio.
Yes.
So they had to redo that class because I hadn't been to the studio for a while. So we actually scheduled it, but I don't want to do the podcast just using a handheld Zoom recorder because I really want good quality. So
you can get started with that. We have some podcast classes and stuff that you can take. We got the Zoom classes, and when you record on Zoom, they give you multiple options. So they give you they give you the video file, they give you the audio file and stuff like that. So it's because we are in quarantine, I understand you want to do it a certain way, but it doesn't hurt to just go ahead and get it started, because we will come out of this at some point, and you want to start working on something. So don't let the quarantine hold you back.
Yeah, if I can just know how to start doing it in a better way than I would be able to produce. So that's just one of the things. Then I also had this website that I started. It has to do with survivors of domestic violence. And my podcast had to do, it has to do with survivors.
Okay.
crime. Yeah, survivors, whatever you survive. And we noticed that during this quarantine, domestic violence rates,
Yes, yes. People are around
it
each other. They're around people a
skyrocketed
whole lot
during those
more.
times.
People that don't have ways to express
Yeah.
themselves. A lot of times, them going to work and just being in other places was just a means for them to just
Yeah,
get
so
out
I'm also
and
working on
release.
that
Yeah,
website, which has to do with victims. It's like a website where I would tell stories of people, survivors of domestic violence, and it has to do with inspiring people. When you hear the stories of people who have survived domestic violence or who are still in it, going through it will understand that they are not alone and they can be inspired by how the people talking have survived it. And being a survivor, I'm talking from experience.
that's great.
So that's one thing that I have to work on. The site is already up. I have to do some stories and then talk to people. But with this lockdown, it's just hard to reach people. And I'll have to put out something out there. Anybody who has a story to tell, a story that can inspire other people and other people who are experiencing domestic violence, they'll always go to that site. When you listen to the stories or you read, if you don't want to be on camera, you can use your voice. You don't want your voice, I can write it and everything will be on that site. So the site is up. I need to take the stories there. So
Okay.
that's one thing that I'm working on, and so many other things, especially writing.
So you're looking to launch this site. You're looking to continue with your podcast because we're gonna get you started now. So after this,
Yep.
I'll tell Jessica to reach out to you, and we can just kind of get that going. As much
I
as
already have the pilot.
Okay.
I already have the pilot. Yeah, I already know what it has to look like. It's now bringing in the stories, and I'll have to start with my own story.
Well, we don't want to put too much out there. We don't want to put too much out there right now. We want everybody to see it when you have it packaged
Sorry.
up. No, it's cool. It's cool.
Okay.
It's cool. But I want you to have your idea for yourself. So I mean, that's a great idea. And
Okay.
it's definitely much appreciated because I know that's a serious topic and it's a thing that's going on even outside of quarantine. So I appreciate you just talking to me. Florence, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaun. Thank you. I look forward to hear from you guys.
For sure.